Hello everybody and welcome back to the Matt Fryer Golf Podcast. I'm your host Matt Fryer and we are joined by your regular co-host Mr. Tom Fear, and welcome. Good to have you back in the seats, sir.
I don't feel so regular anymore.
I know you've...
Well, a couple of weeks off.
If you want to go gallivanting, if you want to not be committed to the cause and keeping the listeners happy with a podcast every week, that's up to you. You can't cry about it.
He's been more committed, don't I?
That's it. No days off. No days off. It's been a fun week. We've been at the Open. It has just ended.
I would normally say how's your weekend been, but I've spent a lot of time with you.
Yeah, seen you an awful lot, yeah. Up in Troon, I was going to say St Andrews then. Up in Royal Troon, watching the Open. You left on Sunday night, is that right?
I left on Sunday and watched the probably last 6 holes on the train, which was a bit of a shame. But I couldn't face I had golf lessons on Monday. I couldn't face the 5 a.m. wake-up call to get a train straight into golf lessons.
Yeah.
I thought by the time it got to 5 o'clock last night, I'd have been given a pretty poor golf lesson. So I got back to my own bed and got the train back on Sunday.
Good commitment from you there. That's quite professional. It was one heck of a week. We're going to dive into it. Myself and Joe, who's the cameraman, we went up on the Monday prior to the Open and spent all week up at Royal Troon, did a lot of filming, watched some golf, and I even got to play Royal Troon yesterday with the Sunday pin locations, and it was incredible.
See, you say commitment to my golf lessons. If you'd have had a cancellation on that tee time, I'd have got back on the next train and cancelled every golf lesson and come with you.
That's fair.
I was quite jealous.
Yeah, we'll get into that a little bit later on. But as the Open goes, what did you think?
I thought it was great. But the first time I've seen Troon for a start. I've not played it and I've not been to an event there before. So that was good to see first of all. I think my favourite part about it was the same golf course showed us every single variety of golf because we had every single season of weather
just
within
snow,
the week.
didn't we?
Just about, yeah. I wouldn't have been surprised if it came because it was quite cold on the Thursday morning, Friday morning.
Yeah.
It was fairly cold.
Yeah.
And then strangely got really warm for maybe an hour and then cooled down again, so the players mustn't have known what was hitting them, to do from 1 minute to the next.
That bag would have been packed, wouldn't it, for the caddies? It would have been mitts, hats, rain,
some
rain
heavy golf
boots,
bags.
sun cream.
You've got to respect the caddies who are still on the single strap, by the way.
Oh.
Get the double strap on.
Yeah.
What are they doing?
They're just athletes,
Yeah,
aren't they? They are machines.
Wearing shorts, no matter what the weather. Carrying one strap bag, probably weighs about 25 kilo.
Yeah.
I would hate to have been anyone on that golf course on Saturday afternoon, I think. I went and hid under cover for the whole day.
After playing it yesterday, how they got round that golf course on Saturday with those conditions, it just shows how good they actually are, because we will get into my round a little bit later on, but it's relentless.
Yeah.
It is just relentless, and to be battered by, it was biblical, wasn't it? You know, we saw the rain coming. We were actually meant to go and play golf in the afternoon, sort of have a social 9 round about 3 o'clock, and we had the team. We were looking at the time at 1 and it was going, I think it's coming. Oh, it's just got about 3 or 4 degrees colder here. Oh, the wind's picked up. Oh, 2 o'clock, there's some of the rain. And then when 3 o'clock came and the leaders were just 2 or 3 holes into their round, it was horrible, wasn't it?
It just sat over us.
Yeah.
Me and Joe missed the lift back from the golf club, so walked only 20-minute walk back to where we were staying, and I would have been drier if I'd been swimming in the sea. It was horrendous. We ran into somewhere at one point to say let's just have a quick stop for a minute, and as we walked in, realised that we're done. Just carry on walking. Yeah. And it was ridiculous how those guys are playing golf, and I think any golf course, any of our local golf courses, would have probably been closed with waterlogged greens within 20 minutes.
Yeah.
That much come down, 20 minutes worth. And that golf course kind of looked like it hadn't been touched for a big part of it. The ball's still bouncing and rolling. And I was chatting to someone about this yesterday. The most difficult part for the pros playing in those conditions is you've now got sticky and wet grass if you're in a little bit of rough.
The rough with that, and there was some moisture on it still yesterday, and some of the shots out of it, my God, because I spent a fair few shots in it.
I'm sure you did. But yeah, I think generally if we're playing in wetter conditions, the ball also sticks when it lands. So you get that little bit of help.
Yeah.
Whereas they're playing links golf on still fairways and greens that are running.
Yeah.
So you come out of some wet, juicy stuff and the ball still won't stop for you.
Yeah.
That is a combination of high 90s, low 100s.
Yeah, easily. On that Saturday afternoon, I think, you put an 18 handicapper out there, 125, they'd
I would say so.
Struggle
Probably.
to break.
You've skipped to one of you haven't seen our listeners' questions yet, but that was one of them, so you've skipped to it. But,
yeah, I think it'd be.
I would think so. Let's just go through a couple of handicaps. We won't ask the sort of scratch pro because then that might give your score away.
62.
But let's say a category 1 6 handicapper on, just say on Sunday.
Sunday,
nice.
Calm day. Yeah, something like the conditions yesterday was similar to what it was Sunday. Very, very, a little breeze. It did pick up in the afternoon. What would they shoot? 6 handicap around there.
High 80s, 90?
90 plus.
90 is a good knock.
If they if they had the game of their life, I think they shoot 85.
That's fair. And do you think that's from a distance point of view, a rough point of view? I think my takeaway from it very quickly on Thursday was how well positioned the fairway bunkers are.
Yeah,
and that when you go in them, you just need to add a number to your scorecard because everybody was either maybe playing out sideways or advancing it 80 yards, 90 yards down the fairway. You were never approaching greens from fairway bunkers.
No. If you get in them, you'd be very, very, very fortunate if you had a shot to the green. We played off some of the back tees. We played like a mixture of them. We were playing the blue tee for the day. And some of them were back, like, say, the 6th, the longest par 5 in Open history. I got 3 wood pin high with the front of the green.
Oh, you ball striker.
Because, and it was slightly downwind. The 4th as well, that's 599, and that was just breezed over as if that was a normal par 5. So that's why I think, when you look at your misses get punished, and then it's getting on that roller coaster once, or the train of like the bogey train. If you hit a poor tee shot, right, now you've got to recover from that. Can you get it up and down? Maybe not. Can you get it out of the rough into a place where you can play it? Are you going to avoid the bunkers throughout? So that's where I think, the amateur would start racking up the numbers. Off the tee, there's no tee you walk onto. Even like 8, you walk onto 8 yesterday, and it was like your stomach's going, you're getting butterflies, you're nervous, you're excited, but you also look down and go, it was 121 yards for us.
Well, I think, was the shortest it played 105 or 100?
101, I think.
101 was the shortest it played this week. And it was kind of I thought, I sat looking at the 8th on Friday, and it was the most fun I've had watching them because I think 60-70% of the players went into the right-hand side bunker because of where that pin was.
Did that. It was 1, 2. Did he get out with his 30? It was 3 or 4 to get out.
Yeah, that's fair.
And he was a pro.
The first 2 players we seen then proceeded to blade it out of that bunker into the coffin bunker. So me and Joe sat there just sort of getting the popcorn out, thinking this is going to be fun. So we sat there for 2 hours. But I thought the Sunday pin kind of seemed to take that out of play a little bit more. It's probably the easiest pin.
Out. Yeah.
Easiest pin of the week. But like you say, that green must look tiny when you're standing there with a wedge in your hand.
And when you walk, like I say, when you walk onto any of the tees, you don't walk on and go, this one's going to be easy. Every single, one, I only hit 5 iron off there. But you look and go, right, those bunkers are round about where I would hit maybe my 2 iron. Can I hit drive? Well, I've got to avoid these 4 bunkers. Then you go on to second and you go, what can I do here? Because 4 irons, maybe getting that one, and then further up driver, I'd have to thread it 20. There's just every single shot. There's just something you've got to think about. There's not just like an open fairway and you just go, I can hit a mediocre golf shot down here. You stand on there, and if you are not committed, and which is where I think, you look at from the players that were out there, some of them had a tough time, didn't they? Some of them, obviously, like your Xanders, your Roses, your Schefflers, your Lowrys, they did amazing things. And to go through that test for 4 days, like the mental attrition that you will go through, just stood going, here we go again.
You'd feel so hard done by if you were Shane Lowry, but you had a 3 o'clock tee time on Saturday.
Yeah, but you look and go, could he have done better? Yeah, maybe. They're just a little bit unfortunate in places. He didn't really spray much, but then you don't have to be punished. Do you know who, like, bar obviously Xander winning, who really impressed me off the tee? That Thurston Lawrence. What a driver of the golf ball
he
he
played
is.
very well, yeah.
It was just like, right, foot to the metal, let's go. I'm hitting a cut wherever I can, bang, driver. It was so impressive.
Just pure confidence over it. But then at the same time, you stand on the range and watch them playing about with ball flights, and that's where you can feel impressed. So if they're on it that day and the wind's down, then they're just robotic.
They are robotic, but you still, when you, like I say, when you stand on the tee though, and there was like 3 or 4 holes when we were playing, you go, oh, there's 12 bunkers on this hole, and like 6 of them are in play off the tee. 2 of them are non-factors really, unless I spray it, and then I've got to avoid them wedging out, and then the other 4 or 3 are there around the green, and they're right near the flag, so I've just got to go through it and just think I've got a newfound respect after playing yesterday.
Did you have Sunday pins yesterday?
Yes.
Yeah, nice. What was the most testing Sunday pin? Were there any really sort of tucked around bunkers or in corners of greens?
Like one was tough, like a couple of paces off the front left bunker. 2 was not too well. 2 was like over a shelf. There's some of the greens, there's undulation, there's lots of swales around the sort of perimeters of the greens, and then in the middle of them they don't get wildly undulating as some do. But a lot of them are like, there's nothing, you didn't get many middle pins, everything's like, oh, it's back left, it's back right, front left, front right, and
you don't get to see the detail on TV.
Yeah.
But I think you almost find those greens have got 3 or 4 different landing spots.
Yeah.
And if you end up hit it front right and the pin's back left,
tough
then
putt, yeah.
You've got a very difficult 2-putt on your hands.
Yeah, and I think that's where, especially from the caddy's perspective, to have one of those pointing them in the right direction. There was a lot of holes that we stood on, and bear in mind I've played it, that was my 4th or 5th time, can't remember, and I was questioning, and I know the holes.
Bit of a flex.
Yeah, well,
4 times.
Well, whatever. I've played it, and like we get on to 11, and I know the hole. I've seen it loads, walked out and looked at it again this week before playing, and you stand there and go, where am I hitting it? Like, what do I do? Oh,
that's one of those tee shots which I've sort of played courses like that before, where it's the fairway's just angled sort of slightly differently, so it's not a dog leg, is it? Really? Would you?
No, for the members, like one of the members' tees, it's pretty much bullet straight as the train line.
Ah, right. So there's more tees.
There's
over to
tees
the left.
as you come off the 10th green, you exit to the right to go to the championship tee.
Okay.
There are tees to the left hand side. So if you went and played with a member, you'd most likely you'd be placed up there. You get, I think, about 60, 70 yards back from you're in front of where the champ tee is.
And you played the champ tee yesterday?
Yeah, the blue was up on the champ tee. Yeah, so we were like at the front of the box. I hit 3 wood 2 iron to it.
Player, it's not bad.
And
sounds like you're still scared of your driver, Matt, since the day that we shouldn't mention Open Qualifier. You've had 2 drivers since then as well, by the way.
I have had 2 drivers. Yeah. I've put a new 3 wood in the bag, and it just goes pretty straight. Like we've played obviously some other golf bar yesterday when we were up there. We played Prestwick St Nick's, and we played Irving Bogside, and we also played Kilmarnock Brassey, the Hill House. And I only hit 1 driver I hit 2.
You hit 2 because you decided.
Oh no, I hit 3. I hit 3. I hit down the last as well.
Yeah, you decided to hit 1 on 6, ripped it.
No,
and
7.
Then decided to rip it a few times in a row.
Yeah, but I've had this 3 wood in the bag now, and it's just like I was just straight finding fairways.
What 3 wood have you got?
Just got a Mizuno one, just tinkering around. Got that new Ventus blue shaft in it. just having a little play. I was like, should I have mini drive? And I thought, let's just put this 3-wood in. Let's see what this is like. Just going away, playing for a few weeks, playing 4 or 5 times. Sorry, I'll just completely put something in that I've not tested and tried, and it actually worked.
And it was the weapon of choice all week.
So it went straight, and I only hit one driver yesterday, all the way around, just because of like I say, as you walk onto any tee, it's just like, oh, please.
So you were playing tactically short of bunkers. You were leaving yourself a longer shot in.
Yeah, it was like, can you squeeze them? I mean, the 3-wood, like on the front 9, it was going like 300 yards because it's slightly downwind and then bouncing. It was a nice hot day for us. So, yeah, it was good. But the course itself, I think, having played it again, having seen it with the grandstands up, I've grown appreciation for it even more because it looks a little bit benign and looks a bit bare and barren when there's nothing up there with the stands on. And I think the whole championship itself, that's one of the, obviously we had the Mickelson and Stenson one in 16. I think this lived up to sort of expectation. There was so many different storylines throughout it. When you think of, like, you had Dan Brown qualified through West Lancs, goes out, leads day 1 at the Open.
I mean, Justin Rose qualified. I know he's a big name, but he still qualified.
Exactly, yeah. So Dan's like, goes through round 1, goes through round 2. He's still up there. Round 3, had a little bit of a falter, but still like proper in the mix. Didn't pan out that he ended up winning, but has a good finish to the tournament, and he's back in next year. Shane Lowry,
he finished tied 10th, didn't he? Dan Brown in the end.
Yeah, tied 10th, so he gets back next year. Shane Lowry, like, we're thinking he's going to win it after 2 rounds and he's going to be defending in Portrush.
Yeah.
Like, that would have been brilliant. Then you've got, like you say, Rose qualified. Can he win it?
Yeah. I got excited by Justin Thomas, and then he absolutely blew it on Sunday. I was looking forward to him playing well. He'd done well to get where he was.
And then just thought, you know what? I'm going
to send it down
the beach.
on one.
I can see how it's done. But yeah, there was, I think, for a championship, the way the course played and the way that, there was so many stories. Like, Schauffele, really, you didn't think much of him throughout the week, did you?
Just a steam train on Sunday.
Thursday, Friday, just going about his business under the radar. Bit like Scheffler.
Yeah.
They're going. Then and then Sunday, he shoots 6 under, and he was level after 5, by the way.
Yeah. Played some serious golf.
Without a bogey.
Him and Rose felt sort of match playish at one point. There was a bit of a battle going on.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden he just put his foot down and wandered off. And it was impressive to watch him.
And then you get the sort of the story of, like, Rory and Bryson as well. Just jettisoned out of there. Just pull the cord, off we go.
I wrote a list for players missing the cut just because I thought these would be a surprise generally. Well, one, I had Rory in the office sweep, which we don't need to talk about my performance in the office sweep this year.
Won that? I think
I know who lost.
You've lost.
I've lost by a mile. I've had more missed cuts than I think people who finished. Might as well have chose John Daly and watch him NR. Rory, Bryson, Tyrrell, Tommy, and these are all players that people were kind of backing.
Yeah.
Hovland, Finau, Cam Smith, defending champion. Not defending champion, but 2 years ago, sorry. Some names there who just absolutely fell off. Rory had a shocker.
But it's like, do you know, like, and everyone gets on the back, don't they? And like, I'll be the first to say I've given Rory some stick in the past. Like, for me, it's normally, like, he annoys me when I see him hit wedges. I love everything else about it.
Like what about when he hits them 45 yards left?
That's a little bit of the issue, yeah. But, like, you can see how it can be done. Like, you can go, like, you just get on that, like I said earlier, the train just gets to you, and it is like you are just being punched in the face relentlessly. And obviously they did it in bigger wins. And like I said, mental attrition, playing for the Open Championship, whatever happened in the US Open, he's got to, have a little bit of scar tissue from that. But it can just get away from you, and you look and go, right, well, it just wasn't his week.
Well,
I don't
see his
think it's anything
as well.
to judge him too much on.
His score probably looks a lot worse because you see his interview afterwards, and he said after the 4th hole on Friday, he was thinking about where he's going on holiday.
I didn't like that.
He's not ready for the last 14 holes to be making birdies, is he?
No.
That score is going to just progressively get worse.
What did he miss the cut by in the end? Was he like
7?
Yeah, right, okay.
7, 8?
Yeah.
So he's well out of it. He had a shocker of a start on Friday, which was a shame to see. But there was some big numbers out there.
I thought Tommy would have done better. I thought it sort of I backed him, you know. I thought he would have done better, which is a shame. I would have liked to have seen him play the weekend.
And if there's any...
And Tyrrell nearly made it through, didn't he? Because he was like, looked like he pulled the eject cord, and then it was like, no, came back.
Yeah.
And just fell short, didn't he?
I loved him carrying his own bag.
Yeah, that was class.
It's so good. Yeah. I don't deserve to have a caddy.
Yeah.
And just walk down with his own bag.
Fair play.
That's quality.
Absolutely fair play. So it was. I think as a championship, and like I said, the infrastructure as well around it, and the way that event is run is incredible.
Yeah, it's such a good setup.
Yeah, and I tell you what, yesterday you should have seen the rate that the stands were flying down at.
Rapid up, yeah.
Mental.
Yeah.
We literally we teed off at 12:30, and we got to which stand was it now? One behind. I think it was the one behind either the 14th or the 5th. Can't remember. 14th it was. It's nearly gone.
Yeah, flat on the floor.
It's massive.
The shop will be gone by tomorrow.
I reckon they'll literally be done in a week.
Easy.
And it was like and like I say, from as you were getting in, I thought was really good the way the car parks were all run, the actual moving around the course. I think for me it was one of the better opens I've been to.
It was an easy open really to move around, definitely. The only thing I would suggest from the organisers is it's going to rain, and it's no good if there's only space for 20 people in the bar.
Yeah.
Because everybody had to throw umbrellas up.
Yeah.
And you get to sort of open arms, as it's called, and they could do with just being able to extend that out like a little bit of a gazebo.
Yeah.
Instead of crowding into a 4-foot space.
Yeah, get one of the tellies under there. Imagine that though. It'd just be wild, wouldn't it?
They had one at the Ryder Cup in Paris.
Right.
And
big
it
fan
was
zone.
just a party tent.
Yeah, exactly. It'd be pretty cool, wouldn't it?
It would be.
Yeah.
But it's one of them. They set that up and then it doesn't rain. It's a big waste of money.
Yeah.
And
there's enough hospitality and corporate stuff knocking around as well, isn't there, if you're lucky enough to get in those? But
yeah.
Or just get your brolly up and get watching.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
Overall, I thought for me a really, really, really good championship.
Yeah, and if just on to Xander winning, if you remember back to, it was episode 2 or 3 of the podcast when he just won the PGA, and I reeled out how many cuts he'd made and how many times he'd finished top 10, and we were amazed by it. It kind of goes unsurprising that he's done it again, really. Question for you.
Oh,
I've got a list of who do you think's got the best chance of a Grand Slam.
Okay.
So we got Phil Mickelson needs the US Open.
No.
Okay. Brooks needs Masters and Open.
You.
Rory needs Masters.
Yeah.
Colin Morikawa needs Masters and US Open.
Yeah.
Rahm needs Open and PGA Championship. And Xander needs Masters and US Open. If you had to pick one from there, who is your money on?
I'd probably say Xander, you know.
So would I. And I've cheated a little bit because when I was looking at these...
If you've called Augusta, just do us a favour, let Xander win, will you?
No, he's just always thereabouts.
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
When it comes to Masters, US Open, and obviously Rory seems to have a couple of demons, but then Brooks, I can't see Brooks winning an Open.
I could.
Can you?
Yeah, comfortably.
I feel like he'd have Masters before that. I feel like Brooks is further away from it than a few of the others.
If I was ranking it, let's say, who was going to do it in order, I would go Xander, Morikawa, Rory, Brooks, Rahm, Mickelson doesn't get it done.
That's fair. I was tempted not to write Mickelson in, but I thought with just one US Open, he's still having a knock.
Yeah,
he could have a good.
Yeah,
week.
You never know, do
but
you?
No, I think Xander's at the top of that.
Based on current form and what he's been doing, over the last couple of years as well, especially in those, it was like always the bridesmaid, never the bride, was he? And his golf was just incredible.
It was.
Just incredible. Just some of the shots, and do you know what? And what I think, with Valhalla as well, it's not really like a big fireworks show, is it, with him?
No.
He just hits it that good. It's just like a bit like Scheffler, but because he's not as sort of unorthodox as Scheffler, he probably doesn't get the spotlight on him as much. So he just goes, he just hits it down there, and then he knocks it on, and he holds some good putts as well, doesn't he? And when he smells blood, he's like, right, I'm having it.
His putting was good. His game through from probably when you said he was level through 5, his game from there was almost boring. It was that good. It was just like he was knocking it round. He barely looked like he was phased.
No, he didn't bother,
didn't look like he cared. And I know these boys, a lot of them are well trained in the psychology of it, so don't let the emotion out until the end of the 18. But they almost look, they just look kind of dead to the world. They don't look at a fan.
No.
They walk ahead of the caddy. It's when they get to the point when they're sort of 20 paces ahead of the caddy.
Yeah.
You see all this stuff when you're out on the course. You don't get to see as much of it on TV. But they're in some sort of zone there.
Yeah.
When they've gone, caddy's still clambering with his 25 kilos behind him.
Yeah.
Trying to keep up.
Yeah.
But no, it was a very, very good event. And will you be going to next year's?
I think so, yeah. I think we're just sorting some stuff out at the moment. Hopefully going to be playing it afterwards again. Would like to maybe play it before as well, if Port Rush are listening.
Or do better than qualifying this year.
Yeah, that's it. I have now set my stall out.
You could
playing more, and the tables have turned a little bit on that front, Thomas.
Well, you've got a 3-wood now. You don't need a driver.
I've got a 3-wood that goes pretty much on every. I did hit a unbelievable top with it. I topped the 3-wood like I was on fire.
3-wood tops are good, by the way.
Yeah.
A driver top's one thing. 3-wood tops are the best.
So there was one round, I won't tell you which one it was, that we played up there, and I didn't hit. Did I hit driver? I don't even think I hit driver in this round. I just sort of took it out on I think it was the second hole, and I was like, right, let's just see how this thing goes. Well, that went well. That was good. That was straight.
How far did the top go?
No, that wasn't the top.
Oh, okay.
So this round consisted of, I think it was 6 or 7 3-woods hit. 5 of them lasers.
Yeah.
About 260, 270.
Mm-hmm.
Brilliant. Like, wow. A top that went 20 yards into the rough in front of me. And I fatted one off the tee as well. That was a pretty decent fat, and it got about 130.
That's a good fat.
So that the really good shots were bookended with some real bad golf shots, and I turned around, I was like, when I hit the top, I was like, what just happened to Joe? And he was just like, all he was doing was just like nearly falling on the floor, laughing and trying to keep the camera
shaking.
Yeah, there will be a lot of shaky camera there, and it was just like, what happened there? Like, what is this? Because the first one that came was the fat, and then there was some of the good ones in there, and then
so it wasn't even like the top was the response to the fat.
No,
it
was later on, and it was like, oh right, we've got that one as well. We've got all the shots at this club.
So if you want to see some fats and tops, then keep an eye on the main channel over the next couple of weeks.
Yeah,
because there's some comedy in there. What have we got going out after a good week really of filming?
So today, when this podcast goes out, we've actually challenged a head pro, James Caldwell
with a nifty little short game.
I know. Good story as well, his, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Like, quite interesting. We won't ruin it. Go over to the video. Make sure you check that later on. And yeah, a good player.
Yeah.
A very good player. He's pitching, especially.
Anything from sort of 100 yards, 80 yards in was class.
Yeah.
Really good.
He underplayed himself quite a lot on the first tee, didn't he? I'm
tired. It's a busy week.
Yeah, don't play. Yeah, don't. Used to be off +2, but don't really get out on the golf course much anymore. And then it was a really good match, I thought.
And then the first hole kind of shut a few miles up.
Yeah,
from him not playing.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, it was like, oh right, okay, here we go. And it was real back and forth on that. That course, I love it. And David, who's the secretary up there, always looks out for us when we're coming up and
good food in the clubhouse as well.
Oh, incredible!
Not your standard golf club food.
No.
Completely different.
Yeah.
Rogue.
Yeah.
Shouldn't really exist in a clubhouse.
Yeah.
And
mega.
it's perfect.
Yeah. It was a great, yes, that was the Thursday we went there. Really enjoyed that match. So we got that coming out. We then played Prestwick St Nick's, which is an old Tom Morris course as well. He was one of the founding members, had greenkeepers. Really interesting story about that we get into in that video. And I think like with maybe Kilmarnock not as much, but Prestwick St Nick's and Irving Bogside was the other one that we played as well. They do get a little bit overlooked, like on that coastline there. You've got Royal Troon, you've got Dundonald, you've got Glasgow Gales, you've also got Western Gales, you've got Old Prestwick, and then you've got Trump Turnberry down the road as well. So everyone sort of goes, well, we'll play those. Prestwick St Nick's and Irving, incredible.
Yeah.
Like, so good. There was a hole on Prestwick St Nick's that's like probably one of my favourite golf holes I've ever played. The 16th, and we actually randomly were joined by one of the members. He was walking from his house down to the clubhouse. And we stood on the tee, and I was thinking, where the heck are we going down here? Like, all I can see is gorse. I can see like a rolling undulation fairway, but that looks like it's going into gorse. And then the green up to it is real sort of old school, old Tom Morris design. It was mega.
Nice.
And there was that course really impressed me. And it's like just under £100 maybe to play it.
Should try the old £110 rule. You go above £100, you get all the Americans playing it.
Yeah. And then Irvine itself as well, again, really, really good. Some fantastic holes on that one as well. Greenkeeper, actually, Derek came out and met us on the golf course and just talked us through a few things, and it was really nice, and they were dead welcoming. So I won't spoil any of it, but my golf may have turned a corner.
Maybe.
I
think golf courses up there, like you say, then they're sort of overlooked. I think you can come to a conclusion that golf courses in Scotland are just good.
If you're on a coastline, especially,
and the memberships are about £150 a year.
Yeah,
so cheap.
Yeah, it's not quite 150,
no,
but
you're generally talking what, 500s out for a lot of them.
Yeah, some of them. Yeah, they're like
for
under £1,000, and the condition, like the greens at both of those were pure.
After a Prestwick St Nick, some horrendous vandalism as well.
And I was
amazed that you said that green you didn't even notice it.
Yeah, we for those that are in the Twitter world or Instagram or whatever, unfortunately, and it's someone with a golf club as well, which makes it worse. Like what is going through that person's mind? But they went onto the back of the third green, and at St Nick's there's like a coastal path that runs pretty much all the way along the golf course. They've come on and they've taken divots out of the green. I think there was about 20 in total, weren't there?
On that picture, they looked 2 or 3 inches deep as well.
And as we played the hole, got up there, and obviously we're in the moment, we're filming the video, we're doing everything, blah blah blah. Got round to 60, and this chap met us as we're walking down, and he said, "Oh, what do you think of it? It's amazing. Really enjoyed it. Course is brilliant. Some brilliant holes." And he said, Greenkeeper's done a great job with, the condition of it. And he said, well, the third's a testament, isn't it? Considering what happened. And I was like, oh, what happened? As if I'd never known.
You forgot there was a picture circulating in the WhatsApp group.
He went, all the damage that was there. And I was like, what do you mean? He said, well, all the divots. And I was like, oh, God, that happened the other day, didn't it? It was literally 4 days before we played.
Friday morning, I seen that. Photo and sent it in.
So we played there on the Tuesday, yeah. So, and the pin, I think the pin was a little bit away from it anyway. But I walked up onto the green. The pin was front right. I walked to the back of the green to have a look at my putt, and then sort of circled in around. And it's not a big green. It's probably 40 foot wide and 40 foot deep. So there was it should have been noticeable to the eye, but done an incredible job because didn't even notice it. Green was rolling as pure as you like. It looked like nothing had ever gone on there, and until we met that member, and I was like, didn't know that.
So if greenkeepers can do that, players can fix the pitch marks, can't they, Matt?
Yes, exactly.
Fix your pitch marks.
If you don't, I think you should have a pitch mark put through your finger.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
I thought of that as a weapon before.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But yeah, very, very enjoyable. And if you are sort of in that neck of the woods, and it sort of goes for when you're over on the East Coast as well, or North, you know, you don't have to play the big, like, you don't like, maybe play one as a treat, you know, go and play one of the big course. It is fantastic to experience those, you know, marquee golf courses, but there is so much out there at affordable prices, and the quality is amazing. And a lot of them as well are generally done by like James Braid, old Tom Morris, you know, the real sort of influences in golf that shaped a lot of architecture now that a lot of, you know, your architects are working towards. These old courses that have been around for, you know, hundreds of years, and they are just immense.
Yeah,
it was really good.
Really good. So before we go on to listeners' questions, you were wandering around with your lucky little pass this week. I seen you standing on the driving range.
Yeah.
Did you see anything just interesting on the range? Were you watching anybody? Did you get any insight into maybe what players do before they go and play a round of golf? How they prepare?
They hit it really good.
Yeah, they do hit it good. I noticed that from up in my peasant seats.
Yeah. I think one big thing that you could take away from that's my favourite thing to do when I go to the Open, literally standing on the range. I just love watching all the golf swings. Like, there's so many different ways that we can do it, and they all just do it, you know, in a manner that works for them. They're not trying to get caught up in all what's going around them. But I think what a lot of, you know, you like I say, you could take away from them is they just get that, like, it always seems to me like it's just a calibration zone.
Yeah.
Like, you see alignment canes out, like every pro that I saw, if they were sort of Tuesday, Wednesday, definitely, Thursday, Friday, you know, nearly 100% of them, there was an alignment cane out at some point, like generally when it was like getting into the starting point of the warm-up. And they're just like, right, okay, let's just check that my shoulder alignment's correct, my feet are correct, right, okay, where's my ball position? Okay, that's good. There wasn't any, you know, weird and magical, like, lessons happening. There was, you know, obviously the pros are there, like your Pete Cowans and so on, but they're not really doing a lot.
That's the easiest coaching job in the world at that point. Walk past the player and go, yep, looks good.
Yeah, just sort of giving them a little bit of confidence. Just maybe, just watch this one thing, but there's no rebuilds going on. There's just like, right, yeah, you're good to go. Everything's in line. Everything looking good. Off you go. And then the other thing is they obviously all are very fortunate in that they have a lot of money and they have access to things, but they have launch monitors. Yeah. And they are getting the distances, because obviously a lot of them spend the time out on the PGA Tour, where it's generally very warm, it's generally very nice. They come over to Scotland, it was nice weather, but it's colder, it's windier, the air's heavier, so the ball's not going the same. So it's not just like, oh, well, my 7-iron goes 150. Now that we've gone across the world and playing in a different climate, different conditions, it still goes 150. So there was nothing that, you know, like I say, that blew me away. It was like, right, let's check the basics and let's just check where we're at with our numbers. So, you know, for listeners out there who are able to maybe go and see a pro who has a launch monitor, maybe if it's just one session that you go for gapping and you get a baseline, good, you've got somewhere to go from. And then when you're, you know, maybe going through a little bit of a tough time with your golf swing, instead of like that panic and that, oh, I need to change everything, what do we need to do? I think that's let's just revert back to basics. Let's just make sure those things are right, because generally every problem that you'll find falls back to those. Yep. One of those has fallen out of line, and then you make compensations to try and correct it without actually just, all right, okay, well, my right hand slipped under the grip a little bit more.
Yeah, it's the cause and effect in a golf swing, isn't it? It's the fact that I might be topping it, and that's the effect that everybody sees. Mm-hmm. But the cause of that could be literally as simple as ball positions too far forward.
Yeah,
it could
exactly.
Be anything. Yeah. I think generally your amateur golfers or beginner golfers seem reluctant to get the sticks out, or they think once they've walked out of the lesson, I'll be in a lesson and we'll have alignment canes down, and they don't come out again until the
towel
next
holders,
lesson.
Aren't they?
Yeah, towel holders.
That's all. You put your head cover or your towel on them
if you own them.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you set up when you go whether you go the driving range or whether you go out to your practice ground on the golf course. Set yourself up a little station.
Yeah,
it's not just there for during a lesson. And as you say, there the pros are playing with the lineman canes out. Justin Thomas had a grip trainer on.
Yeah,
6 weeks ago, I think it was.
Scheffler hits balls with that all the time, warming up. So, and then they also changed target as well. That was all one thing that was noticeable. It was like, okay, I'm hitting to there, right? Okay, let's just switch, go like 90 degrees to the left. Okay, can I still realign? Bang, good. So yeah, it's I do love, like I say, watching them on the range and just seeing what's going on a little bit and finding out any little idiosyncrasies is it?
The change in ball flight is great, the way they just sort of go, there's a low one, there's a medium one, there's a high one, low draw, high draw. And I know that might sound sounds far-fetched for us to suggest people maybe go into that detail. Maybe just hit your shot a little bit more if you are sort of your standard handicap golfer, but watching them flush every single shot shape.
Yeah, they hit bad ones as well, though.
They do, yeah.
They do hit
on
some
the range,
bad ones. Yeah.
I watched Harrington sort of dial up his bag.
Yeah.
And he started.
Classing
I think we turned up when he was probably on about his 8 iron, but he'd been on the screen as well in the tented village. And he pulls driver out, and it was just sort of, there's a driver, then there's a slightly bigger one, then there's a stepped on one, and his driver just sort of went from 275 into carrying it 312 and then dropped it back down again.
He's impressive, he is.
Class.
I spent about half an hour watching him. He just flushes it.
Well, we were saying when we were sitting there one night, weren't we? You were saying he's faster now than he was sort of back in his winning days of 08 when he was winning the Open then.
Yeah.
The range is a good place.
Before we go into the questions, you want to just go over my round quickly yesterday?
Go for it.
We did film it.
Yep.
So we've got 18 holes coming out on the main channel, which I won't give my score away.
Someone's asked, but just go and watch the video.
Go and watch the video. That should be next week, I think. Next Thursday, hopefully. I think, like, the big takeaway from it, was the appreciation I have for that. Like, playing 4 rounds round that golf course has got to be... Just walking it as well. It's like 7,300 yards. My feet are in tatters today.
You're not that much of an athlete, though. These boys are fine-tuned athletes now.
They are, but like, think about it. If you let's say Xander, he will have played 9, I reckon, on Tuesday, 9 on Wednesday, maybe walked the other course. The other 9s the other days. He's hit balls every day, and then he's played Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and he's had the stress, the pressure of like, got to get the job done coming down the stretch. That is just, and like the caddies as well, that's the first time I've played like an open venue after the day after it's been, and my appreciation to them now and like how good they have to be is incredible, because the whole way round I didn't spray it, like I didn't really actually hit it that bad.
Were you carrying your bag or trolley yesterday?
Carried my bag.
Okay.
I was very nervous walking onto the first tee. It was like a nervousness, excitement. I was like, right, I know we're filming it and I know my score. Everyone all week's like, oh, what do you think you would shoot? What do you think? I'm like, well, I'm going to find out on Monday. So there was like that anticipation, but it's like an incredible experience. And I must say, like, and I said it in the video, like, thank you to everyone who's, subscribed, who watches, who likes, because without you guys actually watching us, I don't get to do things like that. So it is, down to you actually doing that we get these opportunities. So there was like this sort of little kid, like, oh my God, like I've always wanted to do this. This is like going to be incredible. Like the night before, I'm like, I've gone to bed a bit earlier after the golf finished. I'm like, right, I need a good night's sleep. I need to get there. We couldn't hit balls before we went out because they're literally dismantling the range. So it was like, hit some putts, have a little chip. So you're a little bit stiff on the range, did some stretching, on the first tee. And then I reckon it took me, about the 7th tee, I started to feel like, okay, right, come on. So I had a break up the 7th of not being like nervously excited. Got onto the 8th.
Slapped in the face by the 8th tee.
And then it was like, ah, this is amazing. Oh my God. Oh, don't miss it in any bunker. And like, I was just going through it all again, get through 8, 9's, I would say maybe the only hole where you don't feel that you've got a break off the tee, but you're like, this one doesn't look as daunting. There's still 2 massive bunkers I've got to avoid there and a big slope and loads of rough, but I feel okay. Get on there, then 10's like, got to go over this blind bunker hit. Where do you go? And then I'm walking up 10 and I'm like, 11's coming. I'm like, I had a couple of goals that I wanted to try and do. Par 8, par 11, make a couple of birdies.
How many ticks did you get out of those 3?
I'm not telling you.
We don't need to tell us what ticks you got.
No, just go to just go and find out in the video.
We had a bet on, we had the over-under on how many bunkers you'd go in.
Yeah.
We put the over-under at 6.5.
Yeah.
But then I quite harshly said, even though the over-under on bunkers was 6.5, the over-under on bunker shots was 9.5.
Yeah.
So I was banking on you getting stuck in 3. Did you get stuck in any?
Nope. I went in a couple.
Lost that bet.
Went in a couple, got out. Actually hit some pretty decent bunker shots. That's one thing, when you get in those, like, you've got to pull a perfect lie.
Got to hit it higher than the
They're
roof.
so small, like miniature. There was one on, which one did I go in? 15. The lip was like 2 foot above me. I'm 6 foot tall.
Which one on 15?
Front left of the green.
Okay, yeah.
Like I had a 20-yard bunker shot over an 8-foot lip.
Yeah, 2 foot in front of you.
No, I was actually slightly back in that one, so I was okay. But yeah, it was incredible, but it just shows how good these players are.
And how much, based on what you've seen yesterday, how much can they sort of memberise, make that golf course a bit friendlier? How much can they do it to that golf course, do you think? Because the greens weren't rapidly quick. The greens were what, 10?
Yeah, I think they had them at like 10.8 or something on the Sunday, didn't they? The greens were friendly. Like I don't think they've been cut in the morning for us. I think they've been rolled. Pin locations. I think the big thing is, like, say, you know, I've said throughout this podcast, is knowing where to hit it off the tee. And there was spots where, like, as you walk off it, I would have gone, I would have probably aimed a bit more over there.
Yeah.
To hit that, like, if I didn't hit every fairway, obviously. But there was a few shots that if you were in a little bit of rough, like you walked past it and you went, that's not bad there. But over there, that's really bad. And I think it's just that, you know, caddy and player relationship, seeing the golf course, and the caddies are, you know, so good at the jobs in saying, like, right, this is where you want to hit it. Like, over there, no. Like, go left or whatever it may be to this spot at 250. If we miss it, we're good round there. If we try and be too brave, we're in trouble. Yeah. So, yeah, I think they can make it, you know, quite a bit friendlier. There was one instance where, as well, was like, if I lost a ball and it wasn't a wild golf shot. Yeah. It was into a par 5. I hit 3 wood.
The stewards didn't stay off for you, no?
Yeah, there wasn't a line of... I was quite surprised there wasn't 20,000 people marching around, actually. But, yeah, I've hit this 3 wood and towed it ever so slightly. And it's like the wind was a little bit off the right. And I was like, is that going to be okay? It looks like it might bounce on the fairway. Carried an extra sort of 5 yards into a bit of rough. And where it was literally on the yellow line of where the ropes were still up. So I would think, you know, you're shouting for...
You've killed a spectator.
No, I wouldn't have got... It was just behind the line, I thought. So, you know, they would have... Oh, it's just here.
Yeah.
But you lose it. Excuse me, you lose it. So there's that help as well a little bit. It's very unusual that, like, a professional is going to, like, look at Lowry, for instance. Yeah. Very unlikely that
didn't
they'd lose
want that
it.
one back.
Didn't want it back. But, yeah, so an incredible round. I hope the video comes out pretty good. I think it will, because you'll probably just see the nervousness and the scared look in my eye for 7 holes. And then I actually played some pretty decent golf as well. There was like real ebbs and flows throughout the round. So, yeah, it should be a good video.
So go and watch Matt get in the red under par at Troon. Sounds like you shot under par, by the way. You're talking about the golf course.
I beat Xander. He's dropping the jug off now.
Right, listeners' questions. We've got... I've just got to skip one because you've already said you're not answering what score you shot.
$1 million T.
So Scott Guthrie has said, is that how hard the Open should be, or do people like seeing 20 under winning?
I think that, we saw different seasons, didn't we? Like, they present the golf course the way it was presented. I thought it was, a good, fair test. Look at Xander, get to 9 under, had to go out and battle it there on a Saturday. So, obviously the draw's always a big part of it as well. If you get early or late, you're going to, depending on the tides coming in and out, it's going to switch the winds and things like that. So, I think, that was good. I'd rather see it. I don't think it was like too brutal. I thought Thursday tame, Sunday tame, Saturday horrific.
I don't imagine there was a huge difference in the golf course now to 2016, and that was won on 16 under.
Yeah, I think it was more burnt out then, a bit more baked out.
Plays a little bit shorter, but the weather surely dictate. We say it when we go and play St Andrews, even in our sort of little winter weekend we do. The golf course without the weather isn't the hardest thing in the world.
No.
It's quite an easy golf course, really, but it's the weather really that seems to dictate your scores at the Open.
Yeah, and I think you don't want to see it too barbaric, because imagine the rough was knee high all the way down every fairway. Some of the tee shots would be impossible. So I think that was a good level.
Fair test.
Yeah, fair test. Yeah,
the weather was the thing that sort of, I suppose the weather probably held it back from maybe getting to 12, 13.
Yeah,
just those 2 sessions, wind, rain.
Yeah,
just holds it back slightly. But no, I think it's fair. How many golf balls did you lose? You've already told us one. So
1.
Just the one?
One golf ball, yeah.
What a player. What a player. Sproggy88.
Sproggy.
Which order would you rank the majors?
Open, Masters, tied for the other 2.
That's fair. Open, Masters, definitely.
Yeah.
I think it depends then, doesn't it, on what the...
PGA, then US Open.
Do you go PGA first?
Yeah, why not?
See, this year I go US Open first, but I think that's just... It depends, doesn't it, with those 2?
I think the big thing now is that back in the day, wasn't really bothered about that. I would watch US Open, I would watch PGA, intermittently. I'm not going to religiously, when the Masters comes on Thursday to Sunday, I'm glued to that telly. As well, this year, because of everything that's gone on in professional golf, they now become more of a factor. I watch PGA and I watch US Open, and I was excited for them. So I couldn't separate them, but I'm more excited about them now.
Yeah, no, I'd agree with that. I think we spoke about that a few podcasts ago, didn't we? And Daniel Goodrick, we've already answered your question. I think we said what would an 18 handicapper shoot at Royal Troon, and we said
125,
120, 125
on a good day.
That's a tough day out, that, isn't it? That's brutal.
It'd just be the lost balls.
That would be
if you put them on the back.
It up,
if you put them on the back tees, you're doing that. We played with friends last year, and I think one of the 18 handicappers had 22 points. So what's that, 24 over? No, 18, 14 over your hand.
Yeah, so 32 over.
32 over, so
they're just in
103.
Yep.
And that was off the yellow tees with not really much rough.
Fair.
So throw in another 30.
Yeah,
but for open conditions.
Back tees, rough.
Yeah, another 1,000 yards and another load of rough.
135.
Yeah,
that's a couple more. It's gonna. There's gonna be a lot of mulligans. There's gonna be a lot of drop the ball down the fairway and
just play from here.
Play from here. Play from here. Crack on.
Chuck one down there. We'll call it 5.
We're here for fun.
Yeah.
We're not here to. We're not here to hurt ourselves.
We're
here for fun. Just go and drop one on the green. Playing from 100. Do that. Right, mate. That is all of our questions from today's poll.
Brilliant.
That's our open podcast done.
Is it?
I'm glad you got to play. I'm glad you had a good day.
Yeah.
And if you don't fancy it next year, I'll step in for you.
Jump in, yeah. Well, I'll be playing the Open anyway, because I've turned a corner.
That's it now.
Fingers crossed. But yeah, thank you to everybody who was listening. If you haven't already, do make sure you've subscribed to the YouTube channel, the Matt Fry Golf Podcast. Give us a follow on Instagram. And if you're listening to us, please do leave us a review. We're starting to see some of those come through there. And also make sure you're following us on there. So when the new episodes come out, you do. And we should say, There was an episode with Ben Griffin as well that is over on the main channel. It was about a 15-20 minute interview that was one of the podcasts, so make sure you head over to the main channel and just have a look at that one.
And Ben Griffin is a Mizuno tour player,
and really nice guy.
I thought he gave a really good insight into the preparation from he got his course planner out, sort of explains how you prepare. So that's a good insight if you want to see how players prepare off the course as well, rather than just on the range.
Yeah, excellent. Right, well, see you next week.
I'm here next week. Yeah, 2 in a row.
2 in a row. Wow, he's killing it, guys. Guys, thanks for listening. See you in the next one.